Fake Jake Tapper over there at the Constipated News Network, he's on 9 p.m. Eastern Time now up against Hannity, and he's getting slaughtered. And the reason is he's a fraud. He's a fake tapper. And so they take this instance with Nancy Pelosi's husband and they just exploit it. They haven't spent time on the number of people who've been murdered every single day in this country, especially on the weekends in Democrat metropolitan areas, as a result of Democrat policies undermining the police, as a result of Democrat bail policies where recidivists, they come in the front door, they're out the back door. You've seen it. They don't condemn Soros prosecutors. They don't do long stories on those people who refuse to put these thugs in prison. And we could go on and on and on, couldn't we? But Nancy Pelosi is their darling, and nobody that I'm aware of likes what happened to her husband. As a matter of fact, it is frightening. And it's frightening what happened to Scalise. It's all frightening. But the average American in this country is facing this kind of crap every single day. And it doesn't have to be that way. When you create a lawless environment, the law of the jungle, which means no law, yes, even prominent people are going to be attacked. But that appears to be when it draws the attention of the media, not otherwise. Go.
The notion that violent crime is on the rise has left millions of Americans scared, and the GOP has tried to harness the power of that fear.
There you go. It's the Republicans' fault that people are afraid. Not the Democrat policies. It's the Republicans' fault because they're harnessing this fear. No, they're running on this. So you have a choice between people who are pro-criminal and people who are pro-law enforcement. It's called an election. At least we have a party in this country that knows the difference between law and order and soft on crime. Now, I want to remind you that Jake Tapper used to be the mouthpiece for Handgun Control Inc. years ago. Go ahead.
Republicans condemned the Pelosi attack. They disputed that rhetoric played any role and instead pointed the finger entirely at the issue.
Well, you have no evidence whatsoever. None. About rhetoric of any kind, let alone from Republicans. There's none to this day. Right now. You would think if they had it, we would hear about it. I mean, you have the Hunter Biden laptop, which they pretend doesn't exist. And then they concoct this idea that some Republican must have said. Maybe it was a talk show host that caused this mental guy, this unhinged guy, to attack Paul Pelosi. Do they listen to their own rhetoric? Do the media take responsibility for any of this, including on CNN, including on his program? No. So the first sentence out of his mouth is about Republicans. And look at the picture. Trump, McConnell, McCarthy. Within 15 seconds of the story beginning. Go.
Rising violent crime rates.
If this weren't Paul Pelosi, this criminal would probably be out on the street tomorrow. This is what Democrat policies are bringing.
It's a potent issue that Democratic consultants tell me has been effectively used against their Senate nominees in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and North Carolina.
Now let's stop. Their Senate candidates in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and North Carolina are Marxists. At least two of those candidates have called for emptying their prisons. In Wisconsin, Mandela Barnes has called for releasing 50% of the prisoners, including violent prisoners. In Pennsylvania, Fetterman has called for releasing 1/3 of the prisoners, including violent prisoners. They have long records, anti-cop. They have long records, anti-real bail. And so why wouldn't you point that out so that people can vote on these issues? Go ahead.
As well as other Democrats elsewhere. More than $98 million this election cycle has been focused by Republicans on ads attacking Democrats on crime. That's about $22 million more than Republicans spent on ads attacking Democrats on inflation. Now, each ad, of course, making the case.
So what? Gee, go ahead.
30-second sound bites that Democratic policies on crime make us all less safe.
Take it from us.
Mandela Barnes' policies are a threat to your family.
Barnes wants to defund our police.
Violent crime terrorizing New York. But while police fight to put criminals behind bars, Sean Patrick Maloney fought to let them out. Lying politician Gabe Vasquez wants to defund the police. We can't trust him to keep us safe.
Now, every one of those ads can and should be fact-checked, but the bigger question...
Excuse me. You're such a fraud. They could have fact-checked those ads before they played them. They're true. Every single one of them. Look at what they write. Is life more dangerous now? Question mark. I can assure you, you can't get into CNN's headquarters because it's heavily secured. I can assure you that these elitist, multimillionaire, I'll leave it at there, individuals, I can assure you that they live in very safe areas. This is really outrageous. Here you have the Pelosi husband, Paul Pelosi, which demonstrates how dangerous it is in San Francisco. You have people leaving with their feet, walking out, moving out. Absolute evidence. And instead of holding that up as an example of the problem with the policies, they're attacking Republicans for pointing them out. You're a fraud and a clown, Jake Tapper. That's why CNN is not interested in real news. You're a joke.
For more, sign up for Levin TV.